As you've learned to set your goals and make a plan, and use reflection and discipline, surely somewhere on your list, you wrote down wealth. I'm sure you didn't write down that you just want enough money to get by. No, you probably wrote down a specific amount you want to earn. Some might aim for $50,000 a year, while others aim for $500,000 or even $1 million. It doesn't matter, you probably wrote down what you think you can earn if you try your best, what you want to earn in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or in your whole life. And that number probably seems like being rich to most people, getting the most out of your ambition and being rewarded for it. Now, I'm not talking about the amazing feeling of accomplishing something, I'm talking about the real rewards of ambition. How much should you know and feel good about yourself? As much as you can. How much money and investment should you have? As much as you can. Now, I'm not saying you should be greedy, I'm saying you should be rewarded for helping others, not by hurting them. Is it okay to want to be successful? Is it okay to want to be rich and wealthy? Many people struggle with the idea of being rich. They think rich people are bad and don't care about others. But that's not true. Some rich people are bad, but so are some poor people. Being bad comes from hurting others to get ahead, not from having money. Being greedy is bad, but being wealthy isn't. Being wealthy means using your talents and taking care of yourself with them. I strongly believe that the more I think about wealth, the more I believe it's natural for us to grow, succeed, and be happy. So, here's what I've learned to do to change how we think about being rich or wealthy. I call it becoming financially independent. It's simpler than saying you're rich or wealthy because some people think being rich means you have to hurt others or lose your values. If being rich makes you uncomfortable, don't chase after it. Some people say the Bible mentions it's tough for rich people to get into heaven. I think that's okay, it didn't say it's impossible, just hard. I don't mind a challenge. The Bible also says humble people will inherit the earth, but it doesn't say you have to be poor to be humble. No, the Bible doesn't say you have to be poor. That's just a way some people understand it, a weak excuse lazy folks use, those who want to explain why they're not making progress, those who give up when things get tough, those who don't even try. If you're born in America or come here, part of what you inherit is the chance to become financially independent in a country full of hope and opportunity. It's something we have a right to, and it's possible for us to achieve the best, including personal wealth. I know a guy who's really smart. He went to top schools like Harvard and MIT, and now he's enjoying his retirement by doing what he loves most, teaching. He teaches college classes about money and planning for business, but when he talks about money, he also talks about personal money matters. He always begins his classes with this advice: decide how you want to live now compared to how long you want to work. Think about how you want to live now compared to how long you want to work. If you spend all your money now, you'll have to work for a longer time and harder. But if you start saving money now for your future, you'll have options. You could retire early, travel more, keep working, or start a new job later in life. Once more, it all boils down to making choices. Think about tomorrow today so you can live better tomorrow. Here's something important to consider when you're planning your money future: watch out with your credit cards. Selling money is a big business. You might receive invitations in the mail to sign up for a new credit card a couple of times every month. Having a few credit cards can be useful, especially if you travel. It's safer than carrying cash, and it's easier to keep track of. But be cautious. I know it's tough. When you buy something using a credit card, you don't feel the impact until you receive the bill. So, make sure that whatever you buy, you're still happy with your purchase when you see the bill. And be careful with credit, it's the easiest way to end up in debt. Use debt wisely, not as a habit. If your business involves a lot of risk, especially if you're an entrepreneur, and you need to take on a lot of debt strategically, it's best to keep that debt within your business and not mix it with your personal finances. I understand this can be tough because many lenders may require you to personally guarantee the debt when you're seeking capital as an entrepreneur. So, just like you plan your fortune, plan your debt carefully. Another thing to keep in mind as you work towards financial independence is that getting rich quickly is hard, but getting rich slowly is easier. Whether you're following the 70-10-10-10 rule or any other percentage plan, building wealth takes time. With safe investments, it may take some patience. It requires discipline to keep adding value to your future, even if it's just a little bit every month. Building up your fortune, achieving financial independence, they're not quick processes. There's a saying in investing, focus on time, not timing. The saying goes, time, it takes time. Now, if you're into playing the stock market, you know that timing is a whole different story. But for regular folks like us, it's all about time. A study was done a while back, looking at stock market investments. They looked at 2 scenarios. The first one spanned over 40 years. In this scenario, stocks were bought at the worst possible time and sold at the worst possible time, bought high and sold low. After 40 years, the average return was around 10%. This scenario focused on time. Now, in the second scenario, they studied stocks over a 10-year period. This scenario was all about timing. Stocks were bought at the best possible time and sold at the best possible time. After 10 years, the average return was still around 10%. Building your financial independence requires patience. It happens slowly, one step at a time, with small advantages adding up over time. Being patient can be tough, but it's similar to reaching your ambitions and goals. It happens bit by bit. But what if being patient isn't necessary for becoming financially independent? What about those lucky trust fund babies who have everything handed to them? They never have to work a day in their lives. Their first car is a fancy Porsche, their first house is a huge mansion, and they land their first job at daddy's company. What about people who are born rich? Some folks complain, it's not fair. I work so hard every day, all week, all month, all my life, and I'll never have that kind of money. Well, life isn't always fair, especially when it comes to inheriting money. But how does that really affect you? If you want to be more financially independent than others you know, then you need to work harder and smarter on your own goals and visions. Stop worrying about what's fair and focus on what's holding you back. Look at what you're doing and how you can improve, rather than comparing yourself to others. There are lots of stories about people who started with nothing and worked hard until they achieved more than they ever imagined. Learn from their experiences instead of envying those who were born into wealth. And what if you were determined to be rich? What if you really followed your ambition and your life started getting better? Besides getting back on track, earning more, spending less, saving and investing more, and helping others, achieving also brings disappointments. You might be disappointed in your old friends. Some people don't like it when you succeed and may even criticize or abandon you for trying to improve. They might feel left behind and say things like, "He's forgotten about us now that he's doing so well," and probably more. They might gather in their little group and come up with all sorts of reasons to justify their own average ways. But keep in mind, those who decide to stay where they are have picked their own path, a path of just being okay, a path of average. And those who manage to rise above the crowd almost always wish they could go back to their old friends, to show them love and friendship and try to help them break out of their routines, to share hopeful and inspiring ideas. But it hardly ever happens. Jealousy builds a big wall, one that's really hard to tear down. So, as you change, your life will change, your friends will change, and your circle of influence will change too. That's just part of trying to achieve something, of having goals and ambitions. It's a process that's always changing, all aimed at becoming the kind of person who's worthy of reaching your dreams. There are many reasons why people don't aim higher, don't try to be better, don't strive to be the best they can be. There are various reasons, but just one can make a difference. We discussed many fears in an earlier talk and how to deal with them, but here's one we didn't touch on: risk. Different jobs require different levels of risk. There's an old saying, no risk, no reward. Maybe that's true in life, I'm not sure. It's a personal choice, one you have to make about how much risk you're okay with taking in your life, your future, and your money. It's a personal decision. What I do know is that there are different kinds of ambition, and each comes with its own reward. The goals of a salesperson are not the same as those of a manager. The goals of a manager or an executive are different from those of an entrepreneur. The goals of an entrepreneur are different from those of an artist, scientist, or teacher. Different levels of ambition bring different levels of risk and different levels of reward. Salespeople may be more comfortable with risk than managers and professionals, and the higher the risk, the higher the potential earnings. Entrepreneurs are likely even more inclined to take risks. It's necessary for them. An entrepreneur's ambition must be strong enough to outweigh the risk of losing everything while chasing their dream. Your level of ambition might not necessarily match your ability to handle risk. Many people struggle to cope with repeated failures on the path to success. Even among the most ambitious, only a few have the determination and resilience to pursue risky ambitions. Regardless of your level of ambition or the level of risk involved, it's crucial to maintain the discipline to overcome failures and keep striving towards your goals. Jonas Salk continued working through his failures until he successfully developed the polio vaccine. No matter your ambition level, persist until you achieve your objectives. When pursuing risky ambitions, it's especially important to maintain stability in your personal life. If you've put everything into your business, it's important to ensure that everything is in order at home. John D. Rockefeller was very careful with his personal spending, but he was willing to take big risks with investments and debts, which made his peers nervous. As you work towards financial independence and aim to live off 70% of your income, remember that the first step is to create a plan. It might not be perfect, but taking those initial steps is crucial. By sticking to your plan, the money you save today will help you achieve financial independence tomorrow. And with financial independence, which is the result and reward of your ambition, comes a newfound freedom and a wealth of options.